What's going on, everybody? It's Cool. Today we're going to show you guys the best console settings so you can build like all the Fortnite PC pro players like TSM Myth, Daquan, Ninja, all those insane PC players. Epic Games makers of Fortnite are constantly trying to make the building on console easier and on par with PC. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to set yourself up to play as best as humanly possible on console. Before we begin, I wanted to remind you guys about the Skull Trooper account giveaway we've got going on right now. That's ending very soon, so make sure you guys drop a like on the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, otherwise you're probably not going to see the videos that you subscribe for, because that's just how YouTube works now. And go to the description and make sure that your entry was received. So let's dive into the methods that will allow you to build like the pros on PC while on console. Well, the first step before anything else is making sure you have the right equipment, like before you get on the game, any of that type of stuff. Obviously, you know, if you don't even have a controller, how are you gonna play? So first you gotta start out with the equipment. One thing that I personally need, I know like a lot of other people absolutely need before they start playing Fortnite, is a SCUF controller. And a lot of you guys may not know what a SCUF is, but so if you don't, a SCUF controller is like a special controller, as you guys will see here, that has extra buttons on the back. So like obviously a regular PS4 controller has like nothing on the back, so all those fingers that are on the back of your controller are just basically useless. You know, when you have a keyboard, you can use pretty much all your fingers to press different buttons. Even on your mouse, like there's buttons you can have on the mouse that allow you to use your other fingers, like a thumb and stuff like that. So with the SCUF, it allows you to use more of those fingers that are usually useless, and it allows you way more freedom of button combinations that are literally impossible with the regular controller. So like typically anytime you want to switch to build mode, jump, reload, pick up a weapon, open a door, open a chest, or even just bring out your pickaxe, you have to take your thumb off the right analog stick to press either square, X, circle, or triangle. If you're on Xbox, the same thing. It's like B, A, Y, and X or something like that. So basically for a short period of time, you're completely unable to direct your character, you know, look where you want or aim where you want while ever you're trying to do one of those actions. So a SCUF controller literally eliminates the need to ever take your thumb off the right joystick and ensures that your aim and movement will always be spot on, so that way, you know, you're always doing something as efficiently as possible. Now I know this video is about console settings, but I need to make sure I include this at the very beginning because it's such an important part of the game. Like it really does make that big of a difference. It makes such a big difference that once you use the SCUF controller, you'll never want to play with just a regular controller again. Like for me personally, I know I would literally rather not play a game than play a game with just like a standard default controller at this point. So that's just something to consider. Obviously, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of great players out there that don't have one or don't need one or whatever, but I know, like, if you just think about it logically, like it does make a difference. And although it's not 100% necessary, I guarantee it'll improve your game in some form. So next step is making sure you have the correct controller configuration to have the most versatility of button combinations possible. And to do that, you guys need to be using the new Builder Pro controller configuration setup, which actually it's not too new, but they recently did just make an update to it. So up until like a recent update, Builder Pro is kind of glitched to where turbo building wasn't functioning properly, but now they've almost eliminated that issue and have recently put out that they plan on tuning it even more to make it even more effective. So now like now Builder Pro is definitely 100% worth switching to. Now obviously if you use Combat Pro or Standard and you're like super comfortable with it, you've obviously put in a lot of time and all that, you're not going to be at that much of a disadvantage. But when playing against like the absolute best players, you know, when you're getting a super sweaty build fight, anything like that, every little edge you can get can make a difference. One misclick or something, one extra button hit or something like that, if you're switching over things too quickly, could ruin a battle for you. So like Builder Pro really gives you the most versatility and freedom possible to build and makes it as close to PC as possible. And recently all the best console players that like play in tournaments for money or like wager matches and stuff like that have started to make the switch to Builder Pro because like they fixed the turbo building with it before. Sometimes turbo building would just completely break with it, but now like ever since a recent patch, they made a fix that makes turbo building way more consistent and makes Builder Pro more consistent overall. Similarly, Epic has announced that they plan on making the bindings for console even more customizable in the future. So very soon it may be possible to even have like a certain building piece binded to one of your SCUF paddles, so you could literally like have your gun out and then maybe click a paddle and you'd be instantly to a staircase, as opposed to you press circle and you have a wall, then you have to switch to a staircase or a flat, whatever. I think they're gonna make it so that way you can bind straight to a certain piece, kind of like PC. So that will be an absolute game changer if they do actually follow through with that. And so far, you know, Epic hasn't disappointed. Like everything they say they're gonna come out with, they come out with. So I definitely have a lot of faith in Epic. They definitely care about the console community and all that stuff, and they're trying to make us as competitive as possible. So now moving on to more of the settings, the next most important controller setting is your X and Y sensitivity. At the end of the day, this will come down to mainly preference, but there's literally zero reason you should be using anything lower than like a 7.7. Anything below a 7.7, you're gonna be at a huge disadvantage when it comes to like just quick building, you know, making a quick 1x1, just turning around, whatever, doing whatever. And at shotgun fights as well, like being able to flick shot somebody, you know, when turning quickly to get a quick shot on somebody. Like you guys will see like the best PC players like Daquan, he's absolutely insane with the shotgun. His flick shots are like so on point that it's like almost nearly impossible to kill him realistically. So obviously if your sensitivity is super slow, you're not gonna be able to turn really fast and aim on somebody and kill them. So like I was saying, like basically you need to be at least a 7. Like literally anything below a 7, you're just not gonna be able to be competitive against a really good player. From 7 on, it really comes down to whether you can consistently hit your shotgun shots, in my opinion. I was using 8.8 for like the longest time, and you know, I felt like I was pretty good with it. My building was pretty nice, like my shotgun shots were super consistent. And I recently switched to 10.10 because it's like a lot faster, and I was trying to get like that PC speed where you could just turn so quickly. But while I can turn really fast and sometimes hit some like really insane shots that I wouldn't be able to before, I've also found that like I really don't have as consistent as a shot. So I don't know if the sensitivity is just like that out of control that it's just impossible, or I just need to work and play more and more and grind it out and try to get better with it. But I'm thinking about lowering it back down to like 8 or 9 probably. I'll probably try 9 and see how that works out. If not, I'll go back to 8. From what I've seen, a lot of like the top players use like 8.8. That seems to be the sweet spot for the best consistency and the fastest building. But the guy that got the first place in the solo showdown, who got the 50,000 V-Bucks, is an Xbox player named V Ruthless, and he uses a 7.7. So clearly, you know, I think he won 46 out of the 50 matches total. So obviously 7.7 works for him. He won the most games out of anybody. So obviously, you know, that's definitely a solid choice. Next up is the ADS and scope sensitivity, and literally like every good player I've ever seen uses between a 0.50 and a 0.55 for the ADS, and between 0.50 and 0.60 for the scope sensitivity. So that's the one really good thing. Like even if you feel like 8.8 or 7.7 is super fast for you when you're turning, the ADS sensitivity allows it so like your standard aim is still going to be pretty good, because it's literally completely different sensitivities, so you can still have like pretty good aim with your AR or whatever. And for the scope sensitivity, I just think it really comes down to whether or not you're trying to hit like super quick sniping shots or not. If you're kind of a slower player and your snipes are more methodical, then probably a lower scope sensitivity is better. But like if you are always trying to hit like quick flick shots and like quick scopes and stuff, then maybe a higher scope sensitivity will work better for you. All right, so let's go through these last and final little settings here. Obviously I have invert view off. I don't think you want to screw with that if you've had it off the entire time. Streamer mode off. I like to see the players' names, obviously. Set the scale of the HUD. I noticed a lot of people are starting to reduce this down to like 0.4 to 0.5. I have it at 1, but like if you want as much blink or as much room on your screen to see everything as possible, you can bring it down a little bit. I know a lot of people are starting to do that, but I don't see it as too big of a deal. I might turn it down later. I'm not really sure. Next, I have show spectator count on, unless, I mean, if you get super nervous when people are watching you, then maybe turn it off. But for me, I'm just going to leave it on. Next, sprint cancels reloading. I don't like this on, just because I like to just be able to reload. It doesn't take that long to reload the weapon, so, and I don't want to accidentally cancel my reload by just sprinting, so I think you should have this off. Tap to search interact is a really big one that I didn't actually have on until recently. So basically, the main reason this is so useful is that you can revive people just by pressing square instead of holding it for like 10 seconds, which can be kind of annoying. But also it allows you to like drop materials or like minis or med kits to your down teammate while you're reviving them, so that way you don't have to waste your time waiting for him to be revived then drop it. You can literally drop it while you're reviving them. That makes it super easy. It's also kind of a quality of life thing whenever you're opening chests and stuff like that, so that way you don't have to hold it, you can just press it once and it's good to go. Toggle targeting I have off, so I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Auto equip better items, I honestly don't really know what this does. I think it'll just automatically pick up better stuff or something like that, but I have it on. It doesn't really make a big difference. Aim assist you definitely want on for console. There's literally no reason not to unless you're super proud about having it off, but obviously you're going to want that on. Reset building choice is another big one I think you should keep on, because when you use Builder Pro or any type of controller layout, like you always want to go back to walls first, no matter what, just because whenever you switch, it does take slightly longer to load out a new piece. So you want to have walls out right away as soon as you bring something out, because that's always like the panic piece that you want. If somebody shoots at you real quick, you want to be able to bring out your build and turn on walls real quick. Turbo building you want on. It's just a quality of life thing. They also fix it with Builder Pro a little bit more, so it's definitely worth having. Auto material change definitely want on, so you don't have to manually switch it whenever you run out of a certain material. Controller auto run I think you should have off, just because sometimes I know for me, like the controller auto sprint would just randomly happen in a gunfight when I'm trying to stop and use a shotgun or something like that. So you might activate it by accident. I just keep it off. It's not that big of a deal. Auto pick up weapons I have off, just because I don't want to automatically pick up weapons that I don't necessarily want on the ground in the beginning of a match, so I just leave it off. It's not that big of a deal to press square over something you want, so I think having it off is good rather than picking up something you may not want. Vibration, there is no vibration in my controller anyway, so I have it off. I think that kind of disrupts your aim a little bit, but I've heard people that can't play with it off, so I mean whatever fits you better, but I think it should be off. And then obviously all the replay stuff and all that. The brightness I have is 0.65. For whatever reason, mine just seems a little bit darker. I think this will probably depend on your monitor and stuff like that, so just make sure the shadows aren't too dark and you can see everything. I have music volume all the way down. I think that's only for the lobby, so it's just kind of annoying, I guess. All this stuff, I mean, it's not like I can change the volume through my headset anyway, so it's not a big deal to me. Obviously, you want voice chat on so you can hear your teammates. Color correction or color blind mode, I don't need any of that. Depends on you. Obviously, Builder Pro, like we said in the beginning. And yeah, that pretty much does it, guys. So yeah, these are the absolute best settings you can use for console to get you as close to the PC pro players and all that type of stuff. So if you guys did enjoy, if you learned something, drop a like on the video and let us know in the comments down below who you think the best Fortnite player in the world is. I'm actually curious. I can't say I know who's the best, but I know my favorite player is Daquan for sure, just because he's super good at the shotgun. So maybe let me know who you think is the best, maybe who your favorite player is in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to enter that Skull Trooper giveaway as well, and I will talk to you guys soon in another video. All right, see ya.